Hello, and good morning. Why is today one of those days when things are just not going to work? Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Maybe. Here we go. Okay, it's going to work. It's going to work. We're fine. We're fine. We're doing this live. We're doing this live. We've got this. We've got it going. Okay. I don't know why I'm having all of the technical difficulties today, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. So we are having a chaos morning, but I promised I would be here, and so here I am. We're gonna stay off of our phone. However, I do have an important task that has to be done. Hopefully, we will get through this first, and then that will happen later. But whatever. Here we are. I'm with you. You're with me. This is still not working. I don't know why this is still not working, but we're just gonna do this. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Monday. I am so glad you're here. I am excited. This week we're going to be setting our plans. We are going to, as promised, last week we're going to be working on our goal setting or our filling out our study planner. If you don't have one of these and you want one, check the description. You can download it. It's free. I am going to be setting up mine for one of my classes. And so I would love it if you would do it with me if you needed to also do yours. Uh, and yeah, I have my coffee. We are having some coffee. We are setting some goals. And that's basically the agenda today. I feel like that's a lot of stuff. Setting the goals, filling out our planner, filling out our study guide tracker, study guide and activity tracker. We'll go through that and we're just going to work it out. So, two resources for you in the description is the study planner and there's also a activity guide. I'm literally distracting myself. I am 100% distracting myself because it's off. So I am not going to be looking at the chat right this second. So I will catch up with it later because it's behind and it's throwing me off. I am not engaging because it's completely throwing me off. Okay. Um, I would love to start with reviewing my goals from last week. I think I did pretty good. Not perfect, but good enough. That is sometimes just the life that we have to live. Sometimes we just do good enough. Then we're going to fill out my study guide planner. I will breeze through a little bit of it so that you can see that there are more than one ways to fill it out. And then I'm going to fill it out for myself. Hopefully, you will also fill it out with me for you. And then we're going to do setting our goals for next week. So I'll set up my planner. I'm going to share my desk view with you so that you can see what's going on. And yeah, hopefully we can work it out from there. So I'm excited. I have had so much anxiety because I actually wanted to do this like last week to be able to like track where I'm going and what I'm doing. But I was like, no, no, last week I promised I would do it today on the live. I need to show up. We need to be doing some stuff. So I didn't. And now I'm really excited to fill it out because I am one of those people where I like to see my plan happening. And yeah, let me know what you are drinking or snacking on this morning. We're back to coffee. I know last week we had tea. Last week we were just showing up and going through the motions, but today I am much more present. And I have some excellent coffee today. Okay, let me share my desktop so you can see what's going on down here. and we'll start getting to work. Okay. Advanced. So here we go. Welcome to my desk. Do I know how to turn the camera around? No, I looked. But lucky for you, I tend to write sideways anyways. So I think it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine because you know what? Sometimes it's good enough. Here, let's see. Is there a way to flip it? You know, when I do like my openings, my box openings and stuff like that, ooh, I need to write that down on my to-do list. It's so much easier because even if I forget to flip the camera when I can record, I can always do it in post. Here, there is no post. So let's bring my mic down a little bit more. And we're just going to, no, we were going to check our goals from last week first. Do I have anything weird on my planner? Sometimes I have weird things in my planner. No, that looks okay. All right. This was last week's planner, nice and clean. So my goals for last week were to catch up on reading. I did. As you can see, everything was read. I even created my reading list for this week and started this week. We'll get into that when we start working on the study guide. So that is awesome. Start my assignment. I started and finished my assignment. It turned out to be due on Sunday, which I wasn't too sure of, but no worries, no problems. And then I had to schedule out September content. Now that's where it gets a little funny. So I think I had the conversation when I put it down that this was not a SMART goal. Not that it wasn't an intelligent goal. It was not specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time sensitive. Schedule September content was very, very vague. But I had a lot of September content and I didn't know how much time I was going to have. And I wanted to work on it and just do my best and get as far as I could. So now, did I finish? No, I did not finish all of my September content. I'm behind. But I did get started and it did kind of help me to really track where I was, get my bearings, and get ready to kind of do better. This I did, this I did. This is today, so we're working on this now. This is why I may or may not have a visitor. We will see. But I could wait all day or I can just move on. So this is all of my notes that I got. We're going to hold on to these and put it up here. I love these little reading cards. Today we wrote down, because I remember last week I said live study planner. We're going to set that up live. Today is cutoff. I also need to, I'm going to skip my cloth and paper sub box for October. What else do we have to do today? Cutoff already implies both billings and submit. Oh, we have to work on payroll. Oh, here we go. My highlighter I was looking for. Payroll deserves a highlight. I have some reading to do. And we are going to leave that there because I want to hop over into my study guide planner. So I'm feeling good about my progress on my goals last week. Obviously, we have some more goals to work on this week, but I want to be able to fill out my goals and set those SMART goals, unlike what happened last week where I kind of just set that last general goal. And of course, I you can count it either way because it was not specific enough. I both achieved it and didn't achieve it because I did not write what was measurable about completing it. Um, so this is my study guide tracker. Let me turn it sideways so you can see it a little bit better. Again, this is available in the description for a link. A little bit about me. Here is here is the activity planner, and this is what we're going to fill out today. So on this version here, should I bring you down? Should I bring this up? You can see that this is the pre-filled version. Here, let me see. So you can see there are a whole bunch of activities across the top here. So you can totally fill this one out. That's fine. This is a um, it's just a sample if you are getting into, or if this is your first time in post-secondary, or if you are not too sure how you study, or you don't want the pressure of setting your own study schedule, you can totally follow this. That is fine. I am going to change this just a little bit because there are some activities on here that I'm not going to do. So I am going to pop this over to the blank one. So the very first thing here, I'm going to put this up here. Ah, we are having pandemonium and I love it. That's what I love about lives is that they're just unpredictable. And so we can see this actually is, we did this one last week. You saw me do this reading list. I finished it up and I made my reading list for this week. So this week I'm just about caught up on reading, but I actually extended it. So this will take me all the way to my midterm. So let me find my pen. My favorite Muji. I love these clickable Mujis. So I love them more than the standard Mujis you see everywhere with just the, I have that one where it's just the cap. I don't know what the difference is between these two. They're both 0.5s, I believe. But this one is so much smoother. So if you are in love with the Muji, or if you are thinking about trying it, and especially if you're a claw grip girly like me, I find this one just so much easier to write with than this one. I find a little bit more scratchy, and this one writes so much nicer. So you know me, I'm always going to sit here and tell you a little bit about my writing, my stationery supplies. Alrighty, so you can see here, I have two textbooks because we work out of two textbooks for my class that I'm doing this for. This is for my corporate finance class. If you would prefer, you can break yours down into topics. You can break it down into chapters or subchapters, and you can write the name of the chapter. For me, I'm just going to be writing the chapter number because it's easier for me personally to keep track of by chapter number. If you want to write the chapter heading or the topic, you totally can. But how the prof writes the chapters in the syllabus, he just writes it by chapter number. So when I am referencing back and forth between what the topics are he's talking about in the classes, it's easier for me to go by name of the topic. And then in my notes, I will have the chapter number and the name. Okay, so first, first chapter, and I'm going to do these right in order. So And chapter 6, F. Now, I also want to go back and for myself, I want to add in chapter 1 just because I have read it and it's very much like a foundational chapter. And there are some things that I want to add into it. I believe I might have actually already taken notes on it as well. So I am going to add chapter 1 as well. So that's the first book that we have read. I don't know if we go back to that book again. I would have to look later in the syllabus, and I have not checked the entire syllabus for the what's like the later classes. Um, but now we're going to finish up the rest of it. So, four, five. But I also have here, let me put this down here. I don't think you can see it very well, but there are some appendices that are also listed separately. Okay, so let me see, because I was bouncing back and forth. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then chapter 1, 29, 3, 2, 4, and 5. You have to wonder sometimes when you are doing this, like, why do we bounce around? Why don't we just go in order? I love bouncing around. Can you tell? So 1 and 3A were done, 6 and 6A. Now chapter 24. Now chapter 7. Chapter 13.5. So now I put down the rest of chapter 13 because chapter 13, I don't remember what it was, but I did look it up and it does look like a very interesting chapter and relevant. So I would like to read that chapter, but it's not a required reading. So I'm going to put down chapter 13 separately. So that's everything. 1A, 3A, 6, 6A, 24, 7, 13.5, 8, and 9. So that's all of them. Now, let's go across the top. And here we start filling in the different activities that we want to track that we are completing, because that's a lot to keep in your brain. So the very first thing I do is I will read the chapter. Next, I attend the lecture. So notice I read before I even attend the lecture. I like to do the pre-reading. So when I come back after reading the chapter and attending the lecture, then I will take textbook notes. So after the textbook notes, I will add my lecture notes. Once I have finished adding my lecture notes, I will go through and I will reread and summarize notes. And that's basically because at this point, I do like to take my notes on computer. So a lot of times you'll start to get like redundant information because I'm taking notes from the textbook and I'm sometimes adding the same information in multiple times. And then I'm taking the lecture notes and I'm adding them into my textbook notes. So then again, I might be re-entering and rephrasing things over and over and over again. And then there's times where I will sit there and I will go be reading through the notes and I'm thinking I still don't understand that. So then I will go through, I will reword and summarize. So that's a time for me to go through and really clean up the notes and work through that. So then I go through and I will do vocabulary. And so that's just at the end of the chapter, I like to go through and I like to, throughout the notes themselves, you'll find a whole bunch of like key terms and vocabulary. I leave those there, but then I like to also put them at the end so that I have almost like a glossary at the end of each chapter of just all of the terms that I need to know that I will deal with multiple times. So then after that, we're going to print. And once I print, I go through and I highlight. Next, I'll go through and I'll add any diagrams. I'm just looking here. From there, I'm going to do summary sheets or cheat sheets for each chapter. So that's where I am for this particular class so far. After that, I haven't decided. I might do flashcards. I might start doing oh no, I did want to add that. I wanted to do my lab problems. I want to do at least two of them, so I'm going to add it twice. And I forgot to add one more thing, but I want to add examples. Okay, so that is so far so good. My um my study plan for the beginning of the semester. Here you can also see there's lecture notes, rewrite notes, read textbook, take textbook notes, vocabulary notes, add diagrams, add concept maps, comparison charts, consolidate notes, highlight notes, summarize topic, brain dump activity, review notes, make flashcards, review flashcards for 3 spots, master flashcards, make practice quiz, take practice quiz times 3. So there are more activities that I can totally add to this, but I'm not going to do that for now. Right now, I'm just going to focus on what we're already doing. So let's pick a color for this particular class and we can start to fill this out. Green's a good color. This is a Sharpie S Note highlighter. I didn't even know that Sharpie made highlighters. I was literally in the dollar store and I found these and I loved the colors. So this one's teal and okay. So which of these have we already read? On here, I was keeping the dates. I don't actually need the dates. I really don't. So this is all red. So read chapter. So this is red. And now we're just going to fill in the corresponding square. So that's this square here. Chapter 3 we read, 4 and 5 and 6. Chapter 1, chapter 1A we've also read. Chapter 29 we've read. 3, 2, all the way down to 5. This 3A we've also read. Okay. See how this is just so much easier to keep track of what you've read and what you have not read yet? Now, chapter 5 and 6 we've read, and 6A. All right, chapter 24 we have not read. Chapter 7 is what we're actually reading right now. I did try and read chapter 13.5, but there were some things that it referenced that I didn't know yet. So I decided to go back and read chapter 7 first, and then we'll jump up to 13.5, and then I'll probably read chapter 24. Why? Because I do like to cross off as much as I can as quickly as I can. So chapter 13.5 isn't going to contain anything from chapter 24, and because it's smaller than chapter 24, it's a quick win to cross it off. So now I've attended lecture all the way up to, I believe, 6A. No, hold on. See, this is where my syllabus comes into play. up to chapter 5 we've done in class. So now we can fill all of this in. Okay, so now we've done all of that. Now textbook notes. I did chapter 2 for textbook notes. Did I do chapter 1? Like, that is the question. I think I did. Let's take a peek because I want to be as honest and transparent as possible, but I think I did those. But see how it's so hard to keep track of what you did and what you didn't do when you're just keeping it all in your brain. This is why when I was saying I wanted to do this, but I was like, no, I promised I would do it with you guys. So I'm going to do it with you guys. I'm sorry if I lag for a second. Opening programs. But I think I did. It looks like I did. So chapter 1 for this one. It looks like I did. Chapter 3, I did. And this chapter 3, but not chapter 3 appendix. Chapter 2, I did. Chapter 4, I did. And chapter 5. Did I finish chapter 5? It says that I did. I'm going to believe it. Chapter 1A, I read. So the other ones I did not do. So now, do you see how powerful this is? So now that I have this created, I no longer have to be bound by the restraints of doing this in order. I can now jump around and do it in whatever order I want to because I am now officially keeping track of everything that I'm doing. So now for this week, we're going to plan out our goals, and now I can choose what I want to finish up. So let's go and do, we definitely need to do our reading up to chapter 13. So we're going to just outline this. So you want to do that. We're going to attend lecture all obviously up to here. I believe. So attend lecture, that's not really a goal that we have to set. We're going to automatically do that. We want to get this reading done. No, no, wait, hold on. This week, hold on, hold on. These are our goals for the week of September 22nd, today until, what is Monday? The 29th. Okay, so we don't have a class on Thursday. So chapter 8 will be next week's goal. So this is all the reading we have to do. I want to finish doing textbook notes for 3A. Let's also do textbook notes for chapter 1 and 1A. And there's some, which one am I on currently right now? Okay, so I'm currently working on the notes for chapter one. So that's three chapters we're going to do notes on. So that is three chapters. Well, two and a bit. Two, three. Let's add. Let's see. No, I'm not going to add textbook notes yet. I'm not going to work on that. So that's going to be that. So our goal number one for this week, which is our academic goal. Now, this we can toss and this we can keep because I want to be able to still see what my reading is that I'm working on. So now for two, I want to plan and complete the blog posts for October. That's nothing about posting them. That's not about like actually publishing them or scheduling out the socials. I just want to have the blog posts written and ready to go for October. So that would be nice if I could get that done. Now, what is my goal number three? You know, my goal number three is to work out 3 times this week. Today, I actually did have a workout. Do you ever like just writing something down so that you can check it off and feel super accomplished? Because I'm going to check off this as well. Um, so we also have to write down emails and Trello for the entire week. Alrighty. So that's that. What else do I have? Oh, payroll, payroll. is actually on Friday. I wrote down, okay, I did write down payroll. And let me just check my calendar for any other big events this week. Oh, lovely. That's this week. Okay, so we we have class this week. We have a leadership class on Friday or on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we have a finance workshop. I love that for me. Okay. What else do we have this week? So we have class tomorrow. We need to pay some bills, pay bills. Not to be made or not to be confused with normal accounting, which is largely paperwork. Okay, so we have a pretty busy week. Here, let me give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what else is inside here. So yeah, you've seen the 2 pages of the activity planner. This is also a study planner. This is more of a weekly planner. It helps you just morning, afternoon, evening, and what you're going to study and when. This is a Pomodoro planner, so it helps you to do subject, what task, like what actual activity are you going to do? And then to break up your 5 minute breaks and your 20-minute break, snack materials, notes, you can stack these. I would suggest if you have a long study day or if you are have the week ahead of you, write out all of the studying that you want to do, whether it's reading, whether it's um, brainstorming, whether it is highlighting, whether it is flashcards, and fill out a whole bunch of these to fill out all of your study time throughout the week. And then when you sit down at your desk, just grab a copy, just grab one, and you already have your whole study period mapped out for you. No decision fatigue at all. This is a get organized checklist. A lot of us are living in chaos, and it helps to get organized, helps to dull some of that chaos. So that is also incredibly helpful. Q&A planner, if you are trying to make a quiz, like a study quiz, this helps you. You can have the fact, like what is arbitration, and then rephrase that 3 different ways and write out the answer. It helps to, while you're studying, just to have this, and then you can transfer it into a quiz or flashcards. Super helpful. concept tracker if you have a concept that is hard, that is sticking. Like for me, for whatever reason, the elasticity is just a hard one for me to grasp. So elastic versus inelastic goods. You can put that on here and then say, right now, my confidence in this subject is one. And then as you can, and then just what your source is concerned, like why do you have so much trouble with that? For me, it's just, I have a hard time visualizing why a good is elastic or inelastic. So you can write your source of concern. And as you get more confident with that topic, you can level up. This is a shorthand sheet if you are trying to speed up your note taking by hand. And that is just my copyrights and disclaimer. So yeah, this is, again, this is, I think I've said this about 1,000 times, but if you are just joining us, this is in the description. It's free. You can download it and get yours today. So I'm going to put some holes in this. I'm going to get started because we see my list is full for the day. And I do have to run down to the pharmacy today too. It's a busy day. It's a busy day. So I'm gonna get to work. Hopefully you are also inspired to get some work done. I hope I helped you out with that. But either way, happy Monday. Have an amazing week. And I will see you next Monday at 10 a.m. Central Time. Until then, I hope you have an amazing adventure.